With this video, I want to compare the two of Bing Ads and Google AdWords, really compare the two. And how I want to do that is I want to go over another article with you, and then in addition to that too, of course, I want to add in my personal experiences and also opinions to this video as well, so you really get a good idea of what to really expect. So first, I want to go off and just say first that I like both Bing Ads and Google AdWords. However, I think they both have their certain places really within maybe your marketing budget or really how you want to drive traffic either to your website or something of that sort. So they really both have their own place. So let's kind of go in now and kind of compare the two of really what this article says, and then on top of that too, also what I have found as well. So first, I'm going to be going over then like the cost per click and then the average positioning. So really, this is coming from bluecorona.com, I believe, and they said this, and I'll see if I agree with it or disagree with it and kind of put in my personal opinion and experiences with their answer as well. So when it comes to, say, the cost per click and average position, they said, well, Google AdWords has been more search volume and customers viewing the ads overall, you may be able to have better ad position and lower cost per click on Bing Ads. I would say that is actually what I have found as well, as far as like the lower cost per click for sure. In my personal experience right now, I believe my average cost per click on Bing Ads is somewhere in the range, I want to say 60 to 80 cents. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. I'd say that's probably my average. Now keep in mind too, I'm not going for the absolute cheapest keywords too. That's just for the keywords that I'm specifically targeting. So I know it is possible to get cheaper than that at the same time too, depending on really the quality of the keyword or the competitiveness of the keyword that you're going after. Of course, that cost per click could increase or decrease. Although in general in Bing Ads, what I found is that it is, yes, cheaper on Bing Ads for sure than over Google AdWords, simply because it's less competitive. And then on top of that too, when it comes to the actual positioning itself, I personally have actually not found that to be the case. Now that could be just my personal experience, but I've actually had better luck ranking as far as on Google AdWords, meaning to the top of the ads, than actually Bing Ads. That's just been my personal experience, so I personally can't relate to this. Now I'm not saying obviously it is possible to get higher in the Bing results and whatnot, Bing ad results, but at the same time too, that's just what I found, that really I have not been able to rank higher than Google AdWords. That's just my personal really experience on this. And then it says that Google AdWords then has more search volume and customers viewing the overall ads. Yes, that's overall, yes, true, because Google just has naturally a bigger audience, so naturally you should have more of a chance for people to view your ad. That's just kind of how that is. However, still Bing Ads, when it comes to actual cost per click, is definitely going to be lower than Google AdWords. So going down here, so what about then the click-through rate? So they said that in their sample test, Bing Ads received a higher click-through rate than Google AdWords. So what I've found in my experience between the two is that yes, Bing Ads does for the most part receive a higher click-through rate. However, it does vary sometimes. Right now, my most recent click-through rate I think was between 1.5 to 2%. Now, keep in mind that might sound really small, especially if you're just starting out, but that actually is pretty good. They say that a good click-through rate is about 1%. And that's, of course, you want to always aim higher than that, of course, but at the same time, too, that kind of helps give you an idea of kind of what should you aim for, especially when you're first starting off with ads. So, yes, I would say that Bing Ads does give me a higher click-through rate. Right now, last time I checked Bing Ads, I think, yeah, I was getting somewhere between 1.5 to 2% click-through rate, but then on Google AdWords, I'm thinking I'm like between 1% to like 1.2%. Click-through rate. So that's also what I have found as well. And then how about then the conversion rate and then cost per lead? Now I will say this, I actually have not done this right here, the actual cost per lead. I don't do the CPL, and that's not really what I'm focusing on in this course, but just to quickly go over it just in case you were slightly interested. It says here that they found that with just 1 in 3 searches being performed on Bing, Google wins in the search volume category, and its users tend to convert more often. So I don't have any necessary data to back this up necessarily. However, what I will say is that I definitely get more clicks from Google in general, simply because I actually have a little bit more of a budget going to that. But at the same time, too, I mean, Bing Ads still does a great job as well. Next then is in the demographics part. So this is what I'm actually going to be going over too within this course, so don't worry about this. However, what's great about really both Google AdWords and then of course being ads is that you're able to really niche down on exactly what are you looking for. Is there a specific target market you have? And if that is the case, you can sort by demographics, and then you're able to then of course really target down on exactly the people that you're trying to get attention towards. So they said here that this one really depends on who your target audience is and which will best receive them. So it does depend on like exactly your target audience. As it says here, nearly 40% of Bing users are between 35 to 54 years old. 44% of them are married, and the average household income is usually higher. Google users tend to be younger, so it kind of depends then, of course, then exactly on what, who is your target market, who are you trying to target. And even before maybe you start creating your own ad, you definitely want to get this clear with yourself, because you don't want to be wasting ad dollars on, you're not sure exactly who, you're just hoping someone will buy either a product or service or something of that sort. I would definitely highly recommend that you try to be really clear on exactly who is this like perfect target customer, like literally write it down, or maybe put it down in like a document or Word document, just typing it out or writing it down and saying, my perfect customer is, say, male that is 35 years old, lives in Texas, and really enjoys the outdoors, or something of that sort. So if you know all those little details, then you're going to be able to target down and find people related to that person, and that's going to really help you, and your conversion rates should really increase from that. So really at the end of the day here, it basically just ends up then saying that it depends on exactly who you're trying to reach and target towards. But I will say this, that I've used Bing ads for also targeting more of a younger audience too, and I've seen good results as well. So it's not to say that there's not any young people on Bing. Of course there is. In fact, I'm on Bing, but it really just depends too on what you're going after. But at the end of the day, I think you'll be really happy with Bing ads. I know that I have been, and I think you're going to be able to really get a great bang for the buck when you're using really Bing ads. If you do have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.